At the beginning of the story, we see a man named Max trying to survive on this barren wasteland. A few years earlier, a devastating nuclear war had destroyed the entire world. Now, only a handful of people are still alive. Suddenly, Max notices a group of strangers driving toward him. He immediately starts his car and speeds away. The strangers begin chasing him. These men are known as the War Boys. They suffer from a strange disease, and to stay alive, they need blood from other people. That is why they want to capture Max. The War Boys ram Max's car and eventually catch him. They take him back to their stronghold. We then see that Max has been turned into a prisoner. The War Boys write his blood type on his back, so anyone who needs blood can use him as a donor. After that, they begin branding him with the symbol of their gang. A moment later, Max somehow breaks free and tries to escape, but while running, he starts seeing visions of people begging him for help. These are people he failed to save in the past. Before he can get away, the War Boys capture him again. The story now shifts to Immortan Joe. Immortan Joe wears a special suit of armor because he also suffers from the same deadly disease. All of the War Boys work for him and worship him like a god. Immortan Joe controls everyone because water has almost completely disappeared from the earth. He is the only one who has machines capable of pulling water from underground. He keeps many people imprisoned so their blood can be used when needed. Life here is worse than hell. Occasionally, Immortan Joe releases a small amount of water for the people, but there is never enough. The crowd fights each other desperately just to get a few drops. Next, we meet Furiosa. She works for Immortan Joe. Today, he sends her to Oil Town with several War Boys so she can bring back fuel. Furiosa sets out in her massive tanker truck. She appears to be heading toward Fuel Town, but then, without warning, she turns the truck and drives toward a completely different region. Furiosa is one of the highest-ranking leaders, so the War Boys follow her without asking any questions. Meanwhile, a disabled little man working for Immortan Joe is watching Furiosa through binoculars. He reports that she is not heading to Oil Town and is taking another route instead. The moment Immortan Joe hears this, he rushes into a secret room. Inside, he had been keeping 5 young women prisoner. He wanted them to bear his children and continue his bloodline. But when he enters the room, all 5 women are gone. Immortan Joe becomes furious. He immediately realizes that Furiosa has helped the women escape. Filled with rage, he orders his entire War Boy army to hunt them down and bring them back. The War Boys cheer when they hear this. They worship Immortan Joe as a god and believe that if they die fighting for him, they will be rewarded in paradise. The War Boys grab the steering wheels of their vehicles and prepare for war. At the same time, we meet Nux. He is extremely weak, which is why Max's blood is being pumped directly into him. Nux then notices Thomas taking the steering wheel from his car. He stops him and says, "That's the steering wheel from my car. I'm going with you." Thomas laughs and replies, "You're so weak you can barely stand. How are you supposed to fight?" Hearing that, Nux strikes him on the head and says, "I want to die for Immortan Joe so I can earn my place in paradise." Thomas finally agrees. They strap Max to the front of the vehicle so Nux can continue receiving blood and strength from him during the chase. Soon, everyone starts their engines and races after Furiosa. Immortan Joe warns everyone that nothing must happen to the 5 women. They are going to be the mothers of my children. Nux drives forward at high speed. Then Immortan Joe notices him. Nux is overwhelmed with joy. He turns to Thomas and says, "They're waiting for me in paradise." Then he pushes his vehicle to full speed. Meanwhile, Furiosa is already far ahead of Immortan Joe's army. She races east as fast as possible. Furiosa believes there is a green valley in the east, a place with water, food, and everything needed to survive. Holding on to that hope, she is taking the 5 women in that direction. However, the War Boys traveling with Furiosa know nothing about her real plan. They are simply following her orders, but when they start seeing signals from Immortan Joe's forces behind them, they become suspicious. They ask Furiosa, "Why are the War Boys chasing us?" Furiosa does not answer. She simply tells them to keep moving. A short time later, they enter the territory of another gang. The gang immediately attacks them with all of its fighters. In response, Furiosa's men launch a fierce counterattack. They begin blowing up the gang's vehicles. But then the rival gang brings out a massive and extremely powerful truck. At the same time, Nux has already gotten very close to Furiosa's tanker. Nux and Thomas join their companions and attack the gang as well. One by one, they destroy all of the gang's trucks. Now Nux moves toward Furiosa's vehicle to stop her, but suddenly they see a terrifying sandstorm forming ahead of them. Furiosa drives straight into it. Nux follows her into the storm. The storm is incredibly dangerous. Nothing can be seen except endless clouds of sand. Even so, Nux keeps pushing forward. He eventually drives ahead of Furiosa's tanker, but then his vehicle crashes into her truck. The next morning, after the storm finally settles, we see Max. He somehow survived the crash. However, he is still chained up. Max pulls Nux out of the vehicle and tries to unlock his restraints using a gun, but the gun is broken. Max has no idea what to do next. Then he notices Furiosa's truck. Dragging Nux along with him, he heads toward it. Furiosa is busy repairing the vehicle. Max points a gun at the head of one of the 5 women and orders her to unlock his restraints. As the woman starts working on the cuffs, Furiosa suddenly attacks him. She grabs the gun and fires at Max because she does not know that the weapon is broken. Max immediately fights back. back. A brutal fight breaks out between the two. After a fierce struggle, Max finally manages to overpower Furiosa. At that moment, Nux regains consciousness. He was not dead after all. Nux tells Max, Immortan Joe will give us any reward we want because we captured her alive. Max tells Nux to cut his chain. The moment Nux does it, Max punches him hard in the face. Nux instantly falls unconscious. Max leaves everyone behind and drives off alone in the truck. Meanwhile, Immortan Joe and his forces continue moving toward their location. Max drives for a while, but suddenly the truck comes to a stop. Furiosa had programmed a security sequence into the vehicle. She knew Max would never be able to get very far with the truck. That is why Furiosa follows him. Max tries everything he can to start the truck, but it refuses to move. Furiosa walks up to him and says, I programmed a sequence into this truck. Without me, it won't run. Max tells her to get inside, but Furiosa replies, I'm not getting in without the 5 women. In the end, Max lets everyone climb aboard. However, he still does not trust them. He keeps his gun pointed at them and takes all the weapons inside the truck for himself. When Nux regains consciousness, he realizes the truck has already left. Without wasting a second, he runs after it and climbs onto the tanker. Meanwhile, the 5 women use binoculars and see even more people approaching from the direction of Fuel Town. They are coming to kill them. The truth is that Immortan Joe has united people from all over the region and brought them into the hunt. To escape them, Furiosa tries to increase the truck's speed, but something gets stuck in the tanker behind them, preventing the vehicle from moving properly. Furiosa tells Max to go back and check the tanker, but Max still does not trust her, so he refuses. Furiosa says, fine, stay here. I'll go check it myself. The moment she says that, Max decides to inspect it himself instead of letting her go. When he reaches the back, he discovers that a wire connected to the oil tanker has come loose. Max reconnects the wire, and the truck immediately returns to full speed. At the same time, Max manages to bite through the muzzle covering his mouth. Meanwhile, Nux, who has been hiding inside the tanker, suddenly jumps out and attacks Furiosa. But all 5 women work together, overpower him, and throw him off the vehicle. Just then, Max returns and tells Furiosa that more people are coming after them. Furiosa finally tells him the truth. She explains that she already made a deal with the people in the region they are heading toward. She says, I'll give them fuel, and in return, they'll let us pass. Then they'll blow up the path behind us with dynamite so Immortan Joe's men won't be able to follow. Furiosa continues, but I told them I would be coming alone. Because of that, she tells the 5 women to hide inside the tanker. Then she tells Max, you stay hidden back here with me. If something happens, you'll need to drive the truck. By now, they are getting very close to the settlement, so Furiosa explains the truck's sequence system to Max and teaches him how to operate it. After that, Furiosa climbs down from the vehicle and approaches the people waiting there. She says, as promised, I've brought 3,000 gallons of fuel. I'm about to disconnect the tanker from the truck. Now keep your promise and bring down the rocks behind us. The people begin collapsing the rocks. But as soon as they do, Furiosa does not disconnect the tanker. Instead, she tells Max to drive. The people immediately realize she has betrayed them. Furious, they open fire. Furiosa barely escapes and manages to climb back onto the truck, but the people continue chasing them, determined to get the fuel. Meanwhile, the fallen rocks block the path behind them. Immortan Joe and his forces can no longer move forward. However, Immortan Joe has an extremely powerful vehicle. He manages to find a way through. At that moment, Nux steps forward and says, I was on that tanker. As proof, he shows a piece of cloth he took from it. Immortan Joe allows Nux to join him and orders everyone else to clear the rocks and follow. Then Immortan Joe continues the pursuit. Meanwhile, several bikers begin dropping bombs onto Furiosa's truck in an attempt to stop it. But suddenly, the oil tanker detaches. A massive explosion erupts. The blast kills all of the bikers instantly. However, Immortan Joe somehow survives the explosion and continues moving toward Furiosa's truck. Just as he is about to open fire on her, one of the 5 women steps outside. She is carrying Immortan Joe's child. Because of that, he refuses to shoot. At that exact moment, Furiosa fires at Immortan Joe, but one of his men jumps in front of him and saves his life. Meanwhile, Nux approaches Immortan Joe and says, if I can get onto the tanker, I know a way inside the truck. Immortan Joe hands him a gun and says, if you bring those women back to me, I will personally send you to paradise. After that, one of Immortan Joe's men throws Nux onto the tanker. Nux starts making his way forward, but suddenly, a chain attached to his arm gets caught on the tanker, leaving him hanging from the side. Seeing this, Immortan Joe realizes that Nux is no longer useful. He decides to go after Furiosa himself. One of Immortan Joe's men throws a hook at the truck's steering mechanism and rips the steering wheel away. At the same time, the pregnant woman comes outside again and uses a cutter to sever the chain. But then, a huge rock appears ahead. Immortan Joe shouts a warning to her. There's a rock ahead! He does not want her hurt because she is carrying his child. She moves out of the way just in time and escapes unharmed. However, as she tries to climb back into the truck, the door suddenly breaks apart. She falls onto the ground. Immortan Joe immediately swerves his vehicle to save her, causing his own vehicle to crash. When he reaches her, he realizes realizes that both the woman and the baby inside her have died. Immortan Joe is consumed with rage. A moment later, two of his men arrive on motorcycles. He sends them ahead to stop the truck. Inside the vehicle, the remaining women beg Max to stop, but Max answers in a serious voice. She died under the wheels. We have to keep moving. They continue forward. After traveling a short distance, the truck's engine overheats badly. They are forced to stop. Max pours water into the engine to cool it down. During that time, one of the women becomes terrified and tries to run away. I don't want to die, she says. I'm going back to Immortan Joe. Just then, Furiosa notices bikers approaching. Without hesitation, she opens fire on them. The other women then try to reason with the frightened girl. They tell her, he only uses us. We're never going back to him. Eventually, she agrees and returns to the truck. The group continues their journey. Along the way, Max asks Furiosa, where is the green place? Furiosa replies, it's to the east. We'll have to travel all night to get there. Max then says, we need someone watching our back. One of the women volunteers to keep watch from the rear of the truck. She heads to the back and begins looking out for danger. While standing there, she hears Nux's voice. She discovers that Nux is deeply depressed. He believes Immortan Joe sees him as useless now, and that he no longer has any purpose in life. The woman comforts him and helps calm him down. As they continue traveling, night falls. Eventually, they reach a swamp. Their truck slowly begins sinking into the mud. Then Max comes up with an idea. To stop Immortan Joe, he plants dynamite along the route behind them. After that, they continue moving forward. When Immortan Joe's vehicles reach that area, a massive explosion erupts. The blast forces all of the vehicles to stop. Because the ground is a swamp, they become trapped in the mud. However, one vehicle somehow manages to keep moving. Meanwhile, Furiosa's truck also gets stuck in the swamp. Everyone works together, trying to free it, but the truck refuses to budge. Just then, Nux arrives. The moment everyone sees him, they point their guns at him, but the woman who spoke to him earlier tells everyone, Nux wants to help us. At that moment, they notice a vehicle heading toward them. Max fires at it, but he misses. Now, they only have one bullet left. Furiosa takes the gun from Max and fires a single shot. The vehicle immediately comes to a stop. Nux steps forward and says, we can pull the truck out by tying it to that tree. Max replies, you drive the truck. I'll secure the cable to the tree. Meanwhile, the vehicle starts moving toward them again. The people inside are still alive. Max finishes attaching the cable. The attackers begin firing at them from behind. Nux pushes the truck with everything he's got. Finally, the truck breaks free from the swamp. Nux drives it onto solid ground and parks it there. However, the engine is still dangerously hot, so they cannot continue yet. Then Max says, I'm going to stop the people coming after us. Furiosa asks, what if you don't come back before the engine cools down? Max answers, keep going without me. After saying that, he heads off alone. Meanwhile, everyone else pours water on the engine to cool it down. A short time later, a massive explosion echoes in the distance. Furiosa thinks Max has been killed, but then she notices someone walking toward them. At first, she believes it is an enemy. Then she realizes it is Max. Not only has he survived, but he has also brought back all of the attackers' weapons. Everyone is relieved to see him alive. Soon, they continue their journey. Once again, Max is haunted by the same terrifying visions. Suddenly, he wakes up. He sees that morning has arrived and they have traveled a long distance. Max asks Furiosa, how do you know the green place really exists? Furiosa replies, I was born there, but when I was a child, someone took me away. Max asks, have you ever tried to go back before? Furiosa answers, many times, but I never succeeded. Then she continues, when I got the chance to drive this powerful tanker, I realized this was the best opportunity I would ever have. As they keep moving, Furiosa suddenly notices a watchtower. She immediately stops. Turning to Max, she says, I remember seeing this watchtower when I was a child. Then she shouts loudly, I'm one of you! I'm the daughter of Vuvalini! The moment her voice echoes across the area, a group of bikers appears, but these bikers are all women. The women recognize Furiosa immediately and embrace her. Furiosa tells them, I came from the citadel beyond the mountains. At that moment, everyone climbs out of the truck. The women ask Furiosa, who are these two men? She replies, they're our allies. We never would have made it here without their help. Then Furiosa says, I want to show them the green place where we all used to live. Hearing that, the women fall silent. One of them finally tells her, the place you traveled through on your way here, that used to be the green place. But now it's a swamp. The land is ruined, and living there is impossible. The news completely shatters Furiosa. Pain fills her eyes. The green place was her last hope. Night falls. Furiosa approaches Max and says, these women told me there's still greenery somewhere far away from here. There's water there too, but it will take us 160 days to reach it, and getting there with this tanker is impossible. Furiosa says, but if we carry enough fuel and use these motorcycles, we can still reach it. Max shakes his head. I'm not going with you. I'm going my own way. The next day, Furiosa and the others set off in that direction. Meanwhile, Max stands alone beside the tanker. Then, the same visions return. A young girl appears and says, you promised you would save us, so why are you leaving us now? The words deeply disturb him. Max does not know what to do. Finally, he gets on a bike and rides after them. He catches up, pulls ahead of the group, and stops in front of them. Then he says, the direction you're heading in will lead to nothing but salt. We need to go back. Everyone is shocked. Max then explains explains his entire plan. We'll take the tanker back the same way we came. Along the way, we'll have to get past Immortan Joe's men. Then we'll reach the mountain pass, blow up the tanker, block the route behind us, and take control of Immortan Joe's citadel. Everyone likes the idea, so they turn around and head back with the tanker. Meanwhile, we see Immortan Joe. He has almost given up, but then he notices Furiosa's truck heading toward the citadel. Immediately, he realizes that the fortress is currently unprotected. Immortan Joe roars in anger and sends all of his men after them. He joins the chase himself and attacks the tanker. During the assault, the tanker's engine is heavily damaged. Soon, the engine completely stops working. They have no choice but to send Nux to repair it because he is a mechanic. Meanwhile, Max moves to the rear of the tanker. At the same time, Immortan Joe's men begin attaching hooks to the vehicle, trying to bring it to a stop. Using a cutter, Max starts slicing through the hooks one by one, but then several enemies climb onto the truck and attack him. Max fights them off and kills them one after another. Suddenly, a man fires an arrow at him. The arrow hits Max and he loses consciousness. At that moment, he sees the young girl from his visions once again. Because of that, his eyes suddenly open. Max gets back up and resumes fighting, but then another attacker strikes him. Max is about to fall off the truck when Furiosa grabs his hand and saves him. Seeing this, one of Immortan Joe's men shoots an arrow at Furiosa. The arrow hits her, causing a serious wound. Even then, she refuses to let go of Max's hand. At the same time, a truck armed with a massive flamethrower races in from behind and is about to kill Max, but Nux arrives just in time and shoves Max with all his strength. As a result, Max lands directly on the flamethrower truck and survives. He kills everyone aboard the vehicle. However, Immortan Joe's men soon attack that truck as well. The truck is moments away from exploding, but Max jumps onto another vehicle at the last second. An instant later, the truck explodes completely. A massive explosion erupts behind them. Several vehicles are blown apart at the same time. Meanwhile, Immortan Joe drives directly in front of Furiosa's truck and blocks the road. Seeing this, Furiosa decides it is time to end him. She tells Nux to keep driving the truck while she moves toward Immortan Joe's vehicle. Max follows to help her. Furiosa reaches Immortan Joe's truck, but one of his men, Rictus, tries to stop her. Just then, Max arrives and manages to knock Rictus unconscious. Now Furiosa finally reaches Immortan Joe. As he begins firing at her, she grabs hold of him. She hooks his breathing mask and tears it open. The oxygen mask is ripped apart. Unable to breathe, Immortan Joe suffocates and dies. Furiosa is about to fall as well, but Max reaches out and catches her. Everyone is relieved that Immortan Joe is dead. However, the danger is not over yet. His remaining followers are still chasing them. To block the route behind them, the tanker must be destroyed. Nux tells everyone to move ahead. One by one, they climb onto the vehicle in front. At that moment, Rictus regains consciousness. He prepares to jump onto the lead vehicle, but Nux suddenly slams on the brakes. As a result, Rictus cannot reach them. Enraged, Rictus rips out the truck's engine and attacks Nux. Nux realizes that his end has come. He says a final goodbye to all of his friends. Then he deliberately crashes the truck into the rocks. The impact destroys the rocky passage and completely blocks the route. Now we see Max and the others heading toward the citadel, but Furiosa is in critical condition. She has lost a tremendous amount of blood. Seeing this, Max gives her his own blood so she can survive the journey. Soon, they arrive at Immortan Joe's citadel. Some of Immortan Joe's soldiers try to stop them from coming up. Then Max reveals Immortan Joe's dead body. The people gathered below erupt in celebration. Immortan Joe had oppressed them for years. The gates are opened. Furiosa becomes the new leader of the citadel. She releases the water supply for everyone. The moment the people see water flowing freely, hope returns to their lives. Then Max quietly slips away. His journey is still not over. From above, Furiosa watches him leave. Their eyes meet for a brief moment. Without saying a word, Furiosa silently thanks Max. Because of him, countless people have been given a new chance at life. And with that, the movie comes to an end.